Call the meeting to order at 6:05. The first order of business is to open the bids for the Grafton Road Culvert project, which I believe we have two. Should be right here. First one's from A.S. Clark and Sons. See if they lock me out. Yep, they did. Oh, I'm not going to understand any of this.
I'm sorry, is that for the culvert?
Yes, would someone else please like to deal with this, because I don't understand any of it. I'll admit that. Bob, that can be your job. What's this? You tell us.
A.S. Clark has bid a total of $195,096.
195,096.
You know what, we're going to need some paper clips.
I got it.
Now, how would we like to handle this? Mr. Hammond was supposed to be here tonight, and he was not able to attend.
I said I'd send him copies tomorrow.
Okay, so
It's going to take a while for the commissioner and the foreman and the engineer to review them.
okay.
Fortunately, there are not too many to review. But
This is
just make sure we're comparing apples to apples.
We got the second addendum, right? The second advisement.
The second one is from Renault Brothers. I'll let you do the honors there. Just open them up. Oh,
For the Grafton Road culvert, Renault Brothers bid a total of $152,757.
okay. So pending, you're going to scan these tomorrow and send them to Mr. Hammond? All right. And then what type of a timeline are we looking at as far as?
At least a week, I would guess. I mean, I don't know what, maybe sooner. If everything clicks and everything's locked in place, so make a phone call to them, go for No Brothers and Clark and Sons.
Am I supposed to use that?
But I'll let that be determined by Mr. Haynes, Mr. Bostrom, and Mr. LaCour.
Okay. Well, then you've got all your pieces there, so if you want to hang on to those, then.
Yeah,
And we'll let
if I
you
can
know.
just- yeah, let me just stick
Mr.
those-
Hammond, I guess.
Let me put those back in the envelopes and keep those together.
Let's tell them it goes these way.
Do we want to make a decision on the 15th, or do we want to have a special meeting on the 8th?
This
Well,
isn't going
for
to
this-
happen until next spring, right?
I want to know, are you going to be working in the brook with the freezes?
What's that? Can't be at the end of the month.
I asked if you're going to be working in the brook with the freezes. I think you are. So does it really matter if we have a special meeting or you wait 2 weeks? Does it matter if we have a special meeting or the wait 2 weeks to the next
Yeah,
meeting?
we could, it's not going to be done until next year. So,
So you don't mind if we don't put this on the fast track? Is what it
oh, well, man.
is. Well, you're dealing with a rep here, so we'll let you know as soon as Mr. Hammond does his thing. Okay, so the next one would be the gravel pit dumping bid, which I just, they say I saw that, I don't know where I've seen it. So we have, I don't know who from who, but there are two of them here. Okay, this one's from A.S. Clark.
gravel pit clearing bid from A.S. Clark of $13,400.
And this one is from Donald Gould and Son.
We have a quote for the same job from Donald Gould and Son for a total of $16,000.
So I would entertain a motion on that.
Are we all apples and apples? I mean, there weren't too many details on
No,
on
no.
the bid itself.
No, it's a very simple job.
Yeah.
More than 2 people were called and these companies
We have a start date from A.S. Clark and Sons of approximately October 1st, and completion by November 15th. And Donald Gould and Son, job to be completed by October 15th.
So with pleasure. Sorry, what was the date that AS Clark was going to
They were going to start on or about October 1st,
be done by?
by November 15th.
What does that do to our getting gravel crushed?
Well, I called the 2 people, the 2 companies we used before, and right now they're busy. And they don't know when they can get to us. So, it'll be this year sometime, they don't know when.
You recall what it was last year? It was November, right? We were crushing in November.
Late October, November.
So, I mean, in the time frame, that's fine. It's a crush that. But neither one of them gave me, they can't nail down when they can crush us. And they never came to the pit or anything because I didn't give them any prices we had. So they wouldn't come until I gave them a price what we had and see what they have to do to crush, you know. And then they adjust their price per yard for the amount of work they have to do. So.
I make a motion that we would give the contract to AS Clark. You want to specify in there what the bid is for? 13.4?
$13,400.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving or awarding the bid to AS Clark and Son to do the gravel pit stuffing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So you get to go play in the dirt. Okay, did you have anything else for us that you? No?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck tomorrow. Do me proud, since I won't be there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay, approval of the minutes from August 18, 2014.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Is there any discussion? If they get amended? Okay.
Yeah, the final version will take out the second wood in wood. Right? Okay.
The Woodwood?
Wood.
Okay. Second. Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none.
The superintendent may stop by, just so everybody knows. Had some concerns about this right of way down here and the parking lot access. He has a meeting in Wardsburg tonight. He may stop on his way back through, but I'm not certain. It's not a definite.
Alrighty. Moving on to, well, let's see, what do we do? No, let's do the warrants first. Moving on to the warrants for September 2, 2014. Somebody, well, they're not even out here on the table. So I'm going to go get the red folder.
Oh. Alright, first one. I make a motion that we approve warrant number 90201, payroll.
No, it's a far left column.
Second page, next page.
I
Next
thought there was a total page for
There
this
is,
section.
there is a total.
I think it's $10,709.53.
Sounds
No.
No.
Aggregating in the amount of 8,000.
Oh, sorry. Read that. Make the motion for $8,378.31.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving warrant 90201, payroll week ending August 24th in the amount of $8,378.31, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Motion passes.
Make the motion for warrant number 90202, Town General Fund, for $3,255.42.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving warrant 90202, payroll withholding in the amount of $3,255.42, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Warrant number 90203, Town General Fund, $1,700.17.12.
17, 12.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving warrant 90203, general fund in the amount of $1,717.12, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Gail, you
Aye,
vote?
aye,
Okay.
aye, yes. I was
Okay.
trying to get
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
warrant number 90204, Highway Fund, $3,617.55.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving warrant 90204, the highway fund in the amount of $3,617.55, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Dale?
Yep, aye, sorry, I'm just.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Warrant number 90205, Town Equipment Fund, $2,485.
Second. Is there any discussion? Yes. Okay. How did,
2485 even.
2485 even, yes.
Sorry.
There is a note on here. I think this is a question to Kurt. The purchase order was for, the purchase request was for 2, and there was 10 sets ordered.
Greater words.
Blader blades.
I'd like to refer that to Bob. I was on vacation, I left a note for Bob, and we received 10 sets.
There was some confusion. I originally called Fairfield and was going to get the 2 sets, and at that price, because they're like half price of what we usually pay for them. So they wouldn't deliver the 2 sets until they had a truck coming down this way, so I didn't make any commitment at that time. So at that point, they weren't ordered. And somewhere along the line, I'm not certain how, but we got 10 sets that came. We used to buy them in sets of 10, but we were going to buy 2 sets to try not to get the reduced price, because we were thinking that they might be a lower grade, but they came back. They came in as heat treated, and they appear to be the same thing we've been buying for more than that.
because as I recall that whole discussion, we had a set, or 1 or 2 sets coming from Tenco as well. That's still in the discussion.
that was
It was to compare the 2, as I recall,
Yeah.
the discussion. Okay.
So there was some confusion. In any case, they delivered 10 sets. 10 sets we will use in less than a year, and that's typically what we're purchasing in. And initially, when we bought the sets that we did back in June or when we were gonna get them. It was at the year end, so we didn't want to buy, spend a bunch of money on greater blades until the new budget came in. But there was definitely a little bit of confusion on the purchase of them.
Did the ones from Tinco come in?
Yes, they did.
And how did they compare price-wise and quality-wise?
Their price was half.
Tinco's was half the price of
Yes.
these? And quality, they were as good
No,
as?
these are from Fairfields.
Fairfield and Timco,
Tim-
yeah, it's Timco, it's the same company. North Track was the other bidder.
Yes,
Okay, so.
And those are more expensive.
yes.
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 The Nortrac ones were actually higher than they quoted us.
Right, which is on the agenda.
And I was thinking, what we were gonna get from Fairfield, I had no idea. That's why we were gonna go with two. But I'm glad we got these, and if we keep them there, commodity, that's not gonna go bad. We can use them throughout the whole year and into next year.
I have no idea how big grater blades are. Do we have storage space in the garage without?
I have a pile of the other, yeah.
I guess I'll have to get a tour of the place sometime. Well, the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about with this is the requisition piece was put in to keep some understanding of where we were financially. And this has created a situation. It's brought to our attention that 2 were ordered, 10 were delivered, and suddenly we've got that discrepancy, which we'd hope to solve.
I think we got to fine tune the purchasing spot a little bit, because some things we have blanket purchase orders for, like the road softener. We're spending $3,500 at a whack, if not, we run out of it, we get more, and it goes on a blanket PO. I mean, so some of these, we just got to tighten that up a little bit and have a better understanding of, yeah, we can call and order this when we run out, or, you know what I'm saying?
We've got to put it in the pay order and get it.
Yeah,
approved
I mean,
before we get it.
there's a little confusion there.
Well, one thing this does is you got prices on the ones from Nortrax.
Yeah.
And those are fixed prices, and they came in considerably higher.
Yeah.
So the purchase order system at least caught that. Now, how that gets resolved
Well,
is not a, but I'm saying, it shows one thing as opposed to another.
I did call Nortrac on those, and evidently I had the wrong price at the beginning, because they insist that is the price I got.
Well, and the thing is shop around. I mean, if it's the same product, then I mean that's the biggest concern with me is quality of product. I don't have a problem buying cheaper, but
big purchases like the big, truck parts, stuff like that, they get from certain vendors for certain trucks. But big stuff, I always shop around.
because these blades, greater. I know about plow blades, regular plow blades, and you can get from 2 different vendors and say they're the exact same thing, and they're 2 different things.
So what did we do with the Nortrac set? Can we return them? I mean,
We'd use those. Because we were low on grader blade, that's why we went to Nortrac to get them, and we usually get them from them. We used all the 2 sets.
so now that they're also claiming that it was a misunderstanding when you got the quote on those Nortrac?
Well, yeah, I didn't have the paperwork in front of me when I was talking to them today, but I did get the higher price than what I had written.
So Nortrac set your blades too.
We had no blades, so we had to get them from Nortrac. We got 5 sets from Nortrac.
Plus these 10.
No, we got 3 sets.
3
3 sets.
Plus these 10.
I thought it was 2 sets.
3 sets from Nortrac.
3 sets from Nortrac
I don't
and 2
think
from
so.
2 from Townshend. Yeah, I got 3.
There's only the one PO here of.
Right, you're right,
10.
absolutely, you're right.
Was it
It's
3?
right here. Yep. Okay. You got 3 and 10. So you're saying you never actually ordered 20? Those words never came out of your mouth, and that we just 10 sets. 10 sets. There's 2 types of things, right? So it's 20 items came.
10, yeah.
10 things came. That was 10.
10 sets.
10
10
sets.
sets.
And it's 10 sets of 2, or 20 pieces, which is 20 pieces. Okay.
Oh, 20.
So, but you never ordered 10 sets of anything. Those words never came out of your mouth.
No.
So what do we do about a vendor that, because I understand that to return them would be 20% penalty, restocking fee? I mean, if we didn't need them, if we couldn't use them, if it would in fact rust out and be worthless by the time we got to it.
Then we'd have to address it now.
Yes, I understand, but for future, is there any recourse against a vendor that tenfolds your order? That's pretty appalling.
That's, I don't know if there was a mistake on there. I didn't order them, I'm not blaming Bob, but there could have been a mistake at the time. of
Do the orders go
ordering.
in, can the orders go in by either email or by fax, so that there's a written
Oh, I would
document?
imagine, sure.
So, rather
We'll
than,
start doing that.
yeah,
Because we do order plow stock now, correct?
Yeah, they're always, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna put an order in for our plow stuff because they are the cheapest vendor on the plow.
I'd like to see the orders actually go in and write, what?
I say I can do that if
I
I
just,
had names and addresses.
if we have an order form that says, you know, we've got to pay, the pay order, not pay order,
Well, then it
purchase
comes out the
order,
purchase order.
you know, that says X, and then you've got a, you know, an actual order form that says X, and then they send us 10 times it, you eat the restock fee, you come get them, if we can't use them.
Do you wanna do that on everything or just the vendors we don't, I mean, cause like, you wanna do that with Napa and everybody, or? There's a lot of things, you know, with little miscellaneous things we order from Napa, right away they deliver it the next day.
I
Do
understand.
you know what I mean? 'Cause-
Yeah, it's just it plays, you know, kind of plays havoc with budgets when all of a sudden you get walloped tenfold.
Oh, I agree with
You
you.
know, and I don't know. I don't know if that's is it a regular occurrence that we don't get what we ordered precisely? We get,
That don't normally happen.
I don't know, what's anybody else's thought? I don't,
Well, my thought is this, that we got the best deal on grader blades, and we will use them in less than this budget year, and they were budgeted for it. So I mean, it was an expected expense, it just wasn't. Yeah,
well, I'd like to tighten up on the system so that this doesn't really happen again, so that we don't end up with more than we bid off when we get the bills. Right now, it's not so much of a problem with money from that standpoint, but it could be. And I just don't want to get into a situation where we're paying a fifth of the cost just to have them come get them and take them back. Is there would there be a dollar limit under which, no, you don't need to put the order in writing? Would that make any sense, or would that just confuse us?
Well, there shouldn't be problems with the orders. I mean,
Right.
and don't think Kurt misspoke, but he kind of implied that there was. There is little stuff that gets ordered, but it should be what you order, that you get. It's just little stuff comes from Napa, but they don't double up on the cases of hand cleaner and things like that, as a rule. I mean, there shouldn't be any problems with what gets delivered as opposed to what gets ordered. This was just a five-fold increase, which seemed like an odd anomaly. And I understand, I mean, the damn things weigh a ton, and they're not gonna deliver 2 sets or 1 set unless they're coming out this way,
Very,
as a matter of course.
very few times we order for half a year, do you know what I mean? You know, any product for half a year, which is a big order, except for chains or all parts and stuff like that.
And it's not so much the dollar amount, because we grind the blades right down. It's not so much the dollar amount as it is the discrepancy between what was requested and what arrived.
Right.
That's the only problem, and what kind of communication glitch there was, whether the misunderstanding was on this side, or we didn't want the purchase order, it was on their side. In any event, yeah, that needs to be tightened up so that we can absorb them, but you don't want to be doing that on any kind of regular basis.
understood.
And the advantage of the purchase order system is it catches stuff like this, and it doesn't matter to me personally, I mean, where things fall down, just as long as it's understood, and those kinds of issues get resolved. You need to order what you need it when you need it.
It's
Whatever
nice having
costs.
some blades on hand. I mean, I kind of like the idea that we.
Okay,
Both buys.
can we move on past the grader blades? I think we've answered that
We
particular
gotta,
question. All right,
yeah.
so that, I believe that was the only item that was on that warrant. There is
Yes.
a motion on the table for warrant 90205 for the highway equipment fund, or town equipment fund, in the amount of $2,485. There was a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 90205 for the equipment fund in the amount of $2,485, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes.
I make the motion for warrant number 90206 as a town general fund for $280.08.
Finance office prior, Staples.
Staples and Southern Cable.
I
Yeah,
didn't
Southern
see-
Montana.
Did any of us sign No. that? 'Cause I
No, it
didn't
just
see
came
it.
through today.
Okay, so what was the warrant number again? 90?
Next one.
90206.
And it's for which fund?
Town general fund
And what's on it is the staples and 2 Sutherland cable, electrical,
All right.
internet bills.
Now, that Staples bill is $77 too high because we have toner cartridges that are going back. But rather than not pay that and then fight for a credit, we'll, I assume, pay the bill. Those will go back this week. And I need to place an order this week, so they'll well set.
Is there any discussion about that? For those of you who don't know, the printer in there died, so that's.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 90206 town general fund in the amount of $280.08, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Make sure all those get passed around. There's
Yes.
multiple documents with not enough signatures on them.
Yes.
All right. Do you guys want to flip a coin as to who goes first?
Actually, yeah.
He has an air conditioner.
I know I said the first one.
Huh?
Age for beauty.
Is that what it is?
Beauty was a horse.
So that's Black Beauty. Be careful there. Okay, so I'll let you do your report and then I will follow up on some of the other issues that we talked about the last time, if you don't address them.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, I'll let you do your report first,
Oh.
and then we'll follow up on some of the things I talked about last time if you don't address them.
Okay, I get some of my important. Okay, I did call Cargill Salt and American Salt.
Okay.
We talked about salt
Yeah.
prices. We, through Cargill and Barrett Salt, we had the same price that American Salt was for providing V-Trans at $78.65 a ton. We were locked in. We can have that price if we want it.
As opposed to the 82.65.
Correct. American Salt is not taking on any new orders. Anyways. Schonberg Salt, no new orders. Innovative, no new orders. International Salt, no new orders. So I think our only option is to go with Barrett and Cargill Salt, which is the same price as the state's getting.
And that was how
That
much
is the
again?
state price?
Yeah,
Because it's up $22 over last year.
Oh,
Okay, I'm just saying, I've got to call into the state to explain why it's so high, but that's down considerably from Cargill's first bid.
one of the dealers I was talking to, who I've never dealt with before, last year, when they had that problem down at Newark, New Jersey,
All went to Georgia.
it just put things haywire. So, of course, the supply, there's a big supply up here, it's going down there, which is pushing the prices up here.
Yeah, we did get today's mail, 78.
Oh, you did it? So I told him just then.
Yeah, it came through.
And how many yards of salt do we normally
We
do?
usually
Tons.
use 500 to 600 tons.
And we order it all at once, or do we put
No,
it,
we get it
That's
all through
needed.
the year.
but do we lock in, sort of like
Yes.
prepaid gas?
It's usually good till April 1st, right? Is that what it says?
At least, yeah. There's an end date on
We usually get days in
here. April 30th.
Sand prices, excuse me, I called another vendor for sand prices and our old vendor, and I'm waiting for the other vendor to send me a letter. So,
So you don't have both?
I don't have both.
Okay.
No, but they were called after last meeting.
Okay.
If we overorder salt, you said that we put in the order and then we just get it delivered through the course of the year?
Well, yeah, it's okay if we go under. It is, yeah.
They just credit us with whatever we'd already paid,
Well, we don't pay ahead.
and we just pay as we
It's
go.
just locked in time.
We just lock in a price, we order
But they
whatever we need.
try to plan ahead to have enough for us also and everybody else. So they try to use the past year's amount that we use. Sign quotes. I've called several different places on sign quotes, and I've only received 2, and I'm waiting for Econo Sign to get back to me on sign quotes. And then the new laws for the upgraded signs is now 2018.
So they pushed it out.
Yes. So I figure if we still stay with a third, and a third, we have time to get everything done. So I think we should do that. Stay with a third.
How are you determining which third you're going to be working on? Can you go geographically?
It's the first third that don't get stolen. That-
I do the truck power routes, which is pretty much a third of the town for each truck. So we know all the roads are on each power route, so that's how we're doing the third, a third, and a third.
Whose plow are you picking first?
Fine.
Of course. All right, fair enough.
Oh, mine actually,
Need that
mine
higher
is,
visibility for.
that's right, mine is at this end of town, you know, it's 35 and Grafton, but it's very busy.
Doesn't
And
make
I'm
sense.
actually gonna do Window Hill last, because we have that high-risk rural road grant coming in next year, and they're gonna redo the signs on Window Hill Road. I'd rather do that after they have all the signs upgraded that they're gonna do, so we don't double up on that grant. Yeah. So that's my plan for that. We did do this, as everybody saw, we did do the driveway back here. This is- I have no problem with what we did, I feel we did a good job, we put down a base coat and then we put down our gravel. So,
A few people are using it, which is kind of nice. It frees
well,
up a
essentially,
couple
that's,
parking
it's
spaces.
only for a few people to use
Right.
anyways, right?
Right.
That's what, I was led to believe, that's what I relayed when I got to talk to Ralph there when we were doing it, so hopefully it'll work out okay.
I have a reserved space.
Hmm?
I have a reserved space.
How do you get in? Are there any steps up there?
We have a reserve, how do you have a reserve space?
He gets there first. Oh, speaking, while we're still on signs, while everybody's here, did you have enough of the 2-hour parking limit signs? How far up did you go? I noticed they're up
In front of
Leland.
Leland.
We did it in front of Leland and Gray,
Yeah.
we fixed the ones across the street,
Yeah,
and we didn't put any more after that.
okay, so now all the ones that we had back at the highway garage
Yes,
are out.
Yes.
Do we need more?
I don't believe we do, to be honest with you. There's 2-hour parking and there's no parking on the left. And there's 2-hour parking on the right, so.
How far up does it go though?
Should go to the pharmacy.
The pharmacy goes in.
It goes all the way to the pharmacy. Okay.
Because we should have we should have at least one sign, if not 2 signs up above there. There's a lot of stretch here. And there's a lot of driveways in between. There's a public driveway in between.
Where are you talking?
If we're gonna have that 2-hour parking up by the church and all that, there should be a sign up there because you got 2 commercial driveways right
There
there.
were signs up there. I'll go check.
No, Leland and Gray. It stops at Leland and Gray to the pharmacy.
So there's nothing
Most of
between
that's
Leland and Gray and the pharmacy.
most of that's quick turn traffic, but since people aren't parking at the common anymore, all of a sudden, they may start parking in front of Dr. Wallace's office.
I'll have to order new signs.
Okay.
Could we wait and see how things shake out and then just
Sure.
decide to get more signs rather than?
They're not expensive.
Well, and I'd rather err on the side of caution and we'll.
Why don't I order a half
Because
dozen
if it's not
signs to
posted-
have on hand in
Right,
case some
right.
disappear? Because I already straightened out the frickin' sign out here in front of the school once.
You already hit it?
Somebody probably pigeonholed it.
Ah,
If it's not posted, it's hard to enforce them. That's all.
Good trick.
So I'll order a half dozen signs we can have on hand just in case. That's all I'm doing.
okay, thank you.
I caught my knees and I finally met,
Okay.
which was good, on that culvert. He's not requiring us to replace it. We could fix it for now if we want. He gave me a design how to fix it, not a written design, a verbal design. I applied for the permit. I already got the permit on my computer to work in the brook. And
Sorry, which
with
one?
his design.
The stone.
Deer Ridge Road.
Deer Ridge Road.
What was his recommendation? I mean, stonework or, no?
He suggests we lay up concrete blocks on the outlet side. We can keep the stone culvert there.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's going to need to be replaced, but he said probably the repair will last for years. Repair the outlet side with a concrete block, lay them up on both sides. And his suggestion, best would be to get a piece of bridge plate put across the top of the concrete block. Which maybe the state of Vermont will let me borrow a piece of bridge plate. And we're going to return to next year, so. But that's what that was his suggestion.
Ballpark, what kind of price are you, how much time?
Our backhoe won't reach down there. We can't do the work, is the whole thing.
You need a small excavator
Uh,
to lower.
We need quite a good, because you have
Well, you talking
Those
big
blocks,
concrete
you know,
blocks,
120.
half the size of the table?
your yard plots.
Yeah, okay.
But you have to do a little bit of work on the bottom, just
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
you gotta dig that out.
But our backhoe won't reach down there.
How do we go about obtaining an excavator that's, or backhoe big enough to do it?
We put it out to bid, sounds like.
Put it off a bit,
The thing
not a
is,
big job.
the thing is, it concerns me is the subjects that are very adamant about us keeping that stone culvert. Would they be pleased to have it repaired that way?
Well, I think
Well,
they're gonna be
they-
happier with that than they
They
would
have
be.
2 options. we do it this way, or we tear it out and put in an arch. That's it. That's the only two options Mr. Menees has. If we touch the culvert, you know, we have to. We can't repair it. We can't rebuild it the way it is right now because it's too small. So we have to upgrade it, or we can fix.
I understand. I
No,
just
you
want,
fix what we have.
you're gonna have that flack from those subjects.
And if we fix what we have right now, he says, I'm sure it's going to last for years.
I mean, basically, you're basically putting wind walls on and putting a support across the top.
More or
Bridge plate 4 feet wide,
less. No, 8 feet.
8 feet wide.
You don't need to bridge plate the whole thing. You just need to bridge plate from the center over the concrete block.
Is this work that if we get a request for bids out quickly, we can get done before?
For winter? Because our permit does not require us to work in the brook. We're going to work next week.
Even
So we don't have to
laying the
worry about the
blocks,
time date then.
That's right. So my permit says that. Pardon me?
even laying the blocks, you are not actually in the water.
No.
Okay.
How do you need a motion to put this out for an RFP?
I think somebody needs to write the RFP, essentially.
We can do that. By the next meeting.
I'll write up
we'll
the-
get it.
I'll write up what we need to be done for the.
Right.
And the thing is, that'll buy us time too to look at other options and field it out.
Because
for
we
years.
just need that 4 feet back for winter. That's, it'll be wider than it was before.
Yeah.
And it was always fine before.
Now, whose plumber is that? Is that yours, Bob?
It's
Oh, it's his.
gonna have a new sign.
Got that on the side?
Put some delineators on the either, you know, make it nice. We'll weld a couple posts onto the bridge plate.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this will buy us time either way.
So if you could have, or somebody could get a draft proposal together by the next meeting,
Kirk can send me the information, we'll put it on top of
that would be
a
great.
generic, it's not that complicated.
And then 2 weeks after that would be.
We can shoot for the 15th. And if we can get this out this week, then he can meet with people. It's gonna be the same crowd that looked at stumping. He can meet with people, and if he has a permit to work in the brook in October, then, or around it, then we can get this done before weather. So hopefully, we'll try for the 15th. Have some bids.
Sounds to me like, I would like to see it get done this fall because
Oh,
many which of the freezing and the, you know,
It's
exposed.
gonna be easier to plow it if you have a wider road.
Yeah.
It's pretty narrow right now.
And it's substructure, it'll help that whole structure. If we happen to have some heavy rain,
Yep.
we could end up losing a road pretty quick.
Going back to the street signs, if I get a price from this other person, this other company, can I order these street signs to get the ball rolling?
The new,
The new
Name
street-
signs.
Name signs.
absolutely, it was budgeted, was it not? I thought it was.
It was budgeted.
Yeah, there are a lot
It
of
was actually
places
budgeted
that
last
signs
year
up.
too, but they cut it from my budget, so.
There were what?
Last year was budgeted too, last fiscal year, but they cut it, so.
Okay, what did you say, Greg? What, you said something?
I mean, we should shop the signs. I guess that's what he's doing now. But we should have
That's
at
what I'm
least
doing
three.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
trying to get the cheapest price.
Yeah. So let me know what you find.
Because I need something, yeah, that would be basically a request to purchase.
Yeah.
So it's not the street signs, not the stop signs, yield signs?
Oh yeah, stop sign, yield signs.
Everything has to be replaced.
That's not retro, not all of them. The ones that aren't retro reflective, we did a sign inventory, Joe and I did, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And last year I got the inventory back from Wyndham Regional Planning. And they told us what signs needed to be replaced. And, so I got a list of all the signs that needed to be replaced. And we replaced some in the meantime, so I did a quick run around with my route and wrote down the signs again a month ago or something like that. And started trying to get the ball rolling on ordering signs.
Because some signs are still compliant that you just put up, so,
Yes.
I mean, it's,
Was there anything else?
There's different blade sizes, and letter sizes and retro reflective.
Did you have anything else for us tonight, Greg?
I have the reviews for the employees that you wanted tonight.
Okay,
You don't want, I mean, it's up to you.
can we, do you have them written? Can we photocopy them and look at them and have a special slot for you to discuss it next meeting?
Yeah,
In other words, I'd like to review them.
you can have these copies, I have on my computer.
Okay. Because otherwise you're gonna have to come back.
No, that's, last meeting you told me that.
Right. But I really don't want to make you come back
One
tonight
more thing I do, Mayotte, I called Mayotte up, and
for the trees.
he's supposed to get me something in the mail, but he's so busy right now. He said it could be for them pretty lax on that, so. But I did call him up.
Sorry, refresh my memory.
The
Tree cutting,
tree
the tree cutting company. Okay.
And the only other thing that we talked about the last time was the fuel pump and or the software. Do we ever get the specs for that, what we need to run that software?
That was Robert's job.
You had to do that, huh?
Yes.
Oh, no, and the road commissioner, he took that job away from me, so.
I see, okay.
I talked to Warren, he talked to Beardsley, he got the information he needs, and he's in the process of
Okay,
getting it moving.
okay.
We'll see where it ranks next.
Because I basically asked him if he wanted to get out from underneath it, if he wanted to do it. He said he wanted
More,
to. Warren.
okay.
I told my wife she had to get home.
So if you would just give those to me, I'll flip them over and we'll pass them out then. Thank you. We'll add them to the pile. And then I'll be in touch if we have any questions for you, maybe at the next meeting. We'll set aside a slot
I
to
should,
discuss with you.
I should come up with a format to write these out, because I just.
Right.
you know,
But like I said,
Even
it's...
my last ones were
Thank
there.
you.
I do have, for Kurt, what do we need to do to finish up that biographic, or the Deer Ridge? Do we just need to get reflectors there?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you could grab some delineators and reflectors. I was gonna ask the Bill too, but I forgot.
Might be able to.
Because last time, Londonderry boss was.
Let's see what we can do.
That's all I need, is a couple reflectors there, it's done. I don't know if anybody happened to see that. But across from Deer Ridge, we fixed the shoulder there, and we laid down riprap, put a buried Jersey barrier there, a K-rail there. And we got now 40 inches from the white line for the K-rail, so we have a great shoulder there. And we've fabricated everything, so there shouldn't be no erosion around.
I looked at it, it was still pretty wet, so it needs to settle.
So yeah, I'll let you know then if we're going to schedule an executive session to discuss your evaluations then at the next meeting, if that's okay with you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Your turn.
See ya.
Good evening.
Hello, again.
Again, still?
You haven't kicked me out of town yet. Looks like I'm sticking around a while.
Oh, let's, you haven't started picking on the kids yet.
Some of them.
Some of them? You're working on my reputation in town, is that what you're telling me?
Your reputation?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not stealing your thunder, don't you?
I see, okay. So what you got to tell us?
I don't really
Anything
have
unusual?
anything to tell you. You guys pretty much know what's been happening in town over the last month or so. Some tragic events, I think. To say the least, it's kept me busy. There's been some things that have been very time consuming, but for the most part, I think getting my feet wet here and getting grounded, and we're starting to make some progress. Got a number of tickets written already, and I expect that is only going to increase as certain seasons change. So, but school's open now too, so that's creating a whole different environment in the morning hours.
I was to say, are you doing patrol both during that 8 o'clock time and then that 2:30, 3 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I had screwed some signs to some traffic cones. Put them in the middle of the road to get people to slow
that
down.
was you.
I was trying to figure out who was doing that.
That was me. And then I parked the cruiser out on Route 30 here with the lights on, and I actually I was either standing over here by the elementary school or I was coming over here by the other end of Leland and Gray, so just to kind of make a presence out there. The signs were doing great until we had a torrential downpour this afternoon. And
They floated away.
I lost one. It's now pieces of mush on the road, but I do have more signs, so.
As long as you put it out in the middle of the road and no one else did, I was a little concerned because it wasn't a state road, so it could end up being a problem.
Well, that's true. I never checked with the state guys here, but I figured with the kiddies, probably nobody would complain too much. But my thought was just to have that go for the first couple of weeks of school, with thought being the end of this week, and there won't be anything else on the road. That was a lot of the parents had real good positive feedback about that. They appreciated that. Teachers from both the schools were pretty appreciative about that too. They're not used to seeing it, so maybe felt like I was doing something right.
That's a reminder, it's congested out there.
It is.
That hour in the
It
morning.
is a very busy time, especially in the
People
afternoons.
probably-
It's
Afternoon,
really
I find
busy
it's a
time.
lot busier. So, yeah. You know, trying to maintain some of these things and juggle some other departmental things that have required my attention, both in this town and running back and forth to the office. I feel like we're making a good head start on it, and I only hope that I'm going to improve as time goes on here. So, I know we had talked a little bit about the parking thing last week, or last time I met with you. And I got a copy of the ordinance. Thank you, Craig. So, it doesn't say anywhere in here, Craig, though, that your truck is exempt from
That's on the back
We
page.
should,
You guys have a parking spot.
Yeah, we have a list on the back page.
I was gonna say, it should be all our license
Well,
plate numbers
and
on
it
the
is at
back
the
page.
top, but yeah.
Okay. Now, I believe we're going to discuss the tickets. Now, you said you've already written some with these.
I've written speeding ticket violations,
Oh, okay.
civil violation complaints, not parking
That's
tickets.
fine. Because we were going to discuss that this evening and going ahead and ordering the parking tickets. Now, I'm assuming you're still going to do the chalk the tires and the whole.
I haven't got chalk yet, but I have,
I can buy you some chalk.
I have some other means that I was thinking.
Spray paint
Marshall.
on the side of the car.
And then you're back, and then it's
So
there
yeah,
for the
we
next day.
definitely. I know I've seen the guy in Springfield uses an old hockey stick, cut the blade off the end of it, and taped his chalk to the end of it. And he walks around and scuffs the tires. So
I have to admit, it's been awfully quiet out there in the mornings.
I'm actually kind of impressed. I didn't really expect it to be quite so significant at the beginning, but I'm
The
shocked.
The word is out.
Yes,
The
I
word's
think
out.
with the publicity, it's gotten both by word of mouth between the schools and everybody, plus in the newsletters, I think.
I know the elementary school teachers were a little freaked out about everything, wondering how it was going to lay out because none of them wanted a ticket. So they were all kind of. I had fielded several questions and had to have that relayed back to them.
I think they were all concerned about the other side of the commons, and I think the last time we talked, you pretty much mentioned that they can do what they want on that end of the common, but
Well, that's the only place the elementary school has to park,
Yeah.
is down on that far end. And this in
when the food
here
trucks doesn't deliver.
is the church, you know. But we do have to pay attention to the students from Leland and Gray who might have the stickers in their windows that are coming in the back way and parking facing
Do
the
they have
school.
stickers on the windows,
Yes,
or do they
but-
have things hanging from the mirror? Because I haven't been able to actually.
They were supposed to be issuing stickers, but you could put them on a tank so you could change cars,
Okay.
basically.
But they didn't know. I mean, the ones that are going to sneak around the corner may not necessarily have a sticker to park
They'll
down
put
there,
their
so that's where they're
stickers,
parking.
right.
And the seniors have a different color than underclass.
Yes,
That's
they
because they
do.
can leave.
They have different privileges.
That was the principal's idea to identify which kids are allowed to leave the property during the day and which ones are not.
So hopefully this evening we'll get that ball rolling and get those tickets in here so that I'm sure as the weather gets colder, it's going to become much easier to be closer to school than it is to
I
walk
have-
from the bottom.
I have noticed a couple of lazy kids, and I
Just
obviously
a couple, just a
you know,
couple.
some are parking at Grace Cottage parking lot.
Oh, that's almost the same walk as from the.
Yeah, so I kind of hard to really understand where that's a benefit.
They don't have to walk uphill.
Oh, that could be.
Well, you get that, or you know, it could be something they got to share with a parent too. You never know. There's
That's
some
true.
parents that work there.
That's true.
There's a large employer in town, but you never know. You would know the story until you actually talk to them.
So is there anything else that we are aware of? The only thing that I want to say, and I know we're little, being in an open session is a little bit difficult, but is there some way that in these major events, there's some kind of a notification system so that we're aware that it's going on?
We can put a phone list together if you'd like.
I'm just wondering if that wouldn't be a wise idea to maybe, we have it for the emergency management anyway, but to have something where Craig was called and he could either call me or whatever, so the information, if it gets to the point where we start receiving press feeds that we have the ability to at least know what's going
I
on.
think it's a fantastic idea.
So,
I know.
Local government didn't have a role to play in that
No, I
particular
was not
incident.
here during this incident. In fact, I had gone off duty a half hour before this all started. And I was actually called home an hour after this whole thing had taken place, so even I didn't know about
Right.
it until after. So, but by the next day when I came into town, word had pretty much
yeah,
spread like
it's,
wildfire.
oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I think putting something together would be a good idea. I don't know, do you want to just make the decision on me contacting Craig in the event?
Well, if I get a call, I'll call 5 people. I mean, there's no question about that. That's my job. But the chair of the select board should always know what's going on. So I would.
I know we had talked about it, I think, upon my first.
Well, I didn't.
But
I'm less than half a mile away, but I didn't know about it until the next morning when I talked to Rick.
Yeah.
He's the one who actually told me about it. Now I know a lot of people did. The fire department did, and all of that. But in terms of government having a responsibility, or David Diesendorf, our emergency management director, wasn't back from Keene when the incident took place, but he didn't know about it until after he got home, and the scanner, was pretty active. But if we can find out about things in real time, then we can inform the town clerk. We can let I think you talked to Joe, talked to Anita. But anyway, the word can get out to those. There was a meeting here that night, starting at 6 or 6:15, and had this been something different, if there were an active something going on, then others should have known about it, just so that we can call the people that we need to call.
no, makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
And either stay out of the way or get in the way or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's that notification. It'd been nice to. I understood what happened and how it all played out, and I understand that state police used the town garage and all that, and I have no problem with that. But it would be nice that the town fathers knew that that was what was being done.
Well, and in the first hour or two on an incident like
But that doesn't have to happen right then.
Right, you don't want somebody to stop necessarily and go find a telephone. The
Right.
cell phone service doesn't work. But after
Yeah.
you've determined what the situation is and it's no longer an active, it's become an investigation, then it seems to me around phone calls can go out. And if you do have something which is ongoing, scary, you don't know what's going on, then it's also important to let others know. But anyway.
I'll be sure to get your number before the end of the day tomorrow or something. So.
But that'd also be something that should be
Or now
said, should be forwarded to the state police too, because that's something, that communication needs to happen there at some point. I don't know what they did, and they followed their protocols, but it just, sometimes they forget that.
Well, we had a situation where we had a lockdown at the hospital, we had a lockdown at the high school as well. But yet nobody in the town offices was ever notified of that. And
No,
again,
are you saying this year already?
It was prior, before you started July
It was
1st.
last year, because David and I talked at length about that. The high school locked down, but nobody over here knew about it, because nobody communicated from WCSU or wherever else. I'm not sure if they I think they did contact the elementary school.
I don't
think
know,
they were.
I don't think they actually were.
Okay.
but even so, in a situation like that where there's uncertainty, to the point where you will lock down a building, being a public building here, you're right next door, you also would need to have that information.
I need a scanner too.
Okay, so is there anything else that we can think of?
I just have a sort of a side question. Is the state police and Wyndham County Sheriff's position that in the event that there is an untoward incident, thinking about a particular murder where 2 escaped convicts from the work crew murdered somebody in Newfane and were on the run for a week? In the paper, I remember reading about break-ins from houses. They never said there were 2 convicts who had killed somebody, were running around in the woods here for a solid week. And I know that the family sued the state, but is the policy now that, if there were some, if that situation hadn't been murder-suicide, had it been murder and persons unknown had committed it and they're out there, that kind of thing, I really feel it needs to be so people are aware and alert and forewarned.
I think the state actually changes the law with respect to notification in that particular.
I know the state police were pretty quick during this last incident to get press out that there was no immediate danger to the public. So what their actual policy is, I don't really know their policies. And to be honest with you, I'm not really familiar with our policies on it. I would imagine that something like that will follow suit, but
The one she's speaking of was a work detail, where the people on the detail
Two guys walked off.
walked off.
was that something that happened this year too?
No,
No, this was
83.
I was
I'm a
still
little
in high
behind
school.
in my,
No, I was
my
93.
knowledge here.
Before that, 87?
I was still in high school.
What?
I
Robert
graduated
Paulson.
in 92.
Oh.
About 90 or 91.
Okay.
Gail was in fourth grade.
You're sure that was brand new back then?
But yes, and that was the situation. Is nobody was aware for almost a week that there were two at-large
Murdered.
living in the community, so to speak.
And I remember reading any number of camps getting broken into and rifles being stolen, food rifled. But
Yeah,
nobody
that's
had
kind of
any awareness
disturbing.
that, oh, you know.
But I think they did go back and change that.
But the state police has changed. I know they do alert a lot quicker now, and it's more on the internet media quicker. They are quicker on doing that.
wouldn't-
They're going to use the bigger avenues more than just the local avenues, and that's where their downfall is. They need to be using the local
But had it been a situation like that recently, and you had been involved on site, would you get any flack for informing Craig and other people that there is in fact?
I guess it would depend on how much information I gave out, and that's something obviously that before we do provide any press or whatnot, it's, you know, what can we say, what do you not want us to say, that kind of
Okay.
avenue. Obviously for the greater good of public safety, you know, two guys running around that just killed somebody.
Seems kind of
yeah.
important.
Lock your door sign.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And if we have anything that comes up, or you have anything that rears its head that you need us to address or to think about, I'd appreciate if you let Craig know.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he'll get the word to et al.
I know people have noticed you around.
I've heard. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Drive safe.
The town clerk, I didn't see anything.
I didn't get anything,
Okay.
usually does it.
When was this for then? I got
That's,
Always, because
That's
she
13,
she was
13,
gone,
that's
she was gone,
yeah.
and they had taxes last week, so she didn't get anything. Joe, how did we do, or how are we doing?
All right, they're doing well.
We're doing well,
that's
good.
good.
With the float and what's on the 30,000, almost 30,000. You got 420.20. And I do have 2 deposits in there, and I'm working on the third one. But I got 2 ready to go, 90,115.25. So we're doing well.
When do we have to pay the school?
on the
Well, yeah,
18th.
20 days from this last Friday.
It's on the 18th of the night.
Yeah, about the 18th.
So the warrant will be on the table on the 15th, your meeting on the 15th, to pay the schools, and I've
That
got,
would probably pay them Tuesday.
And how much is going to them?
it's coming from WCSU, but it's approximately 600,000. It's $7,000 a day, every day, 365 days.
Coming from WCSU, what's coming from?
The numbers, just the accurate numbers as to what we, rather than the printout from Department of Education. It should be the same, but I talked about it when I was down there on Friday. And I said, just send me the quarterly breakdown for TDS and for Leland and Gregg, just so we have it from you, because the checks end up down there. I just want to make sure we're
Sending them the right amount.
sending them the right amount. Yeah, something hasn't changed, and but we do have the numbers from DOE that we can use, but I just want it to come from him. I've always done that with Frank. Frank's always been real good about it.
And just so everybody's aware, I think Joe will confirm this, that there are quite a few individuals who are paying their entire tax bill up front. And so these kind of numbers are not going to be the norm from here on out.
No, they're gonna get smaller.
That's a little
Right.
less, it's a little less than a third for the year.
I was gonna
So we're
say,
in 333, 303, something like that. So this is a big chunk of it.
So we just need to be aware.
One guy today paid all of his. He had 3 tax bills. Paid them all, it was a little over 32,000.
Right.
3 checks.
So that is just something to remember as we move through the year, that fourth quarter gets to be a little
Slim and
dicey.
tight when you're looking at the bottom line and what you got in hand.
7,000 a day.
All right. Members of the public, Mr. John hasn't made it in. If he does come in, we will speak with him. Correspondence, you all are aware, I'm assuming, that we got the petition. The petition was handed in officially, I believe it was Wednesday, is that correct?
Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday or Tuesday, actually, because I wasn't.
It actually isn't stamped.
It was, yeah, I've got it. It was, I'm guessing it was Tuesday.
Actually, the envelope is stamped, but anyway. And that has brought up a whole new series of questions. As we know, the offer was withdrawn at our last meeting, so there is no pending sale. But the question became then, what do we do with the petition that is essentially legally binding? And what I did was I asked Craig to speak to our attorney, and needless to say, I can never find what I want.
The envelope was white and you had it in your box. If you didn't take it home, then you should have it white manila sized.
No.
It was folded in half. Okay.
It's now in the trash.
Oh, okay.
What do I need? What was in the envelope I need?
Nothing. It was stamped.
Oh, okay. Basically, we asked the attorney what needed to happen with the petition now that we received it. There were 59 legitimate signatures on the petition, which was more than 5% of the registered voters. And basically, we got an answer back today at the 5th hour from our attorney, basically saying in not so many words, we need to take it to town meeting in March at the least. We could either have a special meeting now to discuss it, or we can wait until March to do so, because there is not actually a current pending sale. He dances around the question seriously of whether or not it has to be done as an auction. He seriously does tap dance around that. The thing that bothers me the most about what he said is this line: there have been some cases which have held that a town which owns property purchased at tax sale has some fiduciary duty to the taxpayer former owner. The exact scope of this duty is not clear, but we would recommend that the town at least make an effort to market the property at or somewhere near the fair market value. So, in light of that, which contradicts 3 other lawyers I have spoken to, I would like to consider posing the question to an outside attorney before we move forward one way or another at town meeting with this particular question.
So he's saying we have a duty to the foreclosed taxpayer that lost the property 18 years ago to try to make a reasonable effort to maximize the price of the sale.
No, that's not what he's saying. The exact scope of this duty is not clear.
No, but he was talking about the fiduciary duty there.
Mm-hmm.
It kind
Some
of goes both ways.
Fiduciary duty to the taxpayer former owners. A
There's
fiduciary
one hand
duty-
and then there's the other hand. You should do this, but it's not clear whether you have to.
do you have any idea of what attorney you'd like to?
I'm open for suggestions.
I like the idea of bringing it up at town meeting.
That's not the question right now, Dave.
Well,
the question right now is
Could we
quite-
clear the air? Would the Secretary of State be able to help us clear it?
We've been with VLCT. The Secretary of State is absolutely useless with respect to this question.
Okay, I weren't sure.
And I think at this point in time, before we move forward, we need some legal advice that we can hang our hats on.
Right.
The advice seems to be that because of the petition, we do need to make an article in the warrant and bring it before town meeting in March. If not a town meeting before that, a town meeting in March at any rate. And between now and then, you can decide how you want to deal with the property.
If we have, it sounds like we would be well advised to put an article on town meeting. if we do so, then what is wrong? And if there is an implication that we need to attempt to maximize the benefit for that taxpayer, then why not put it into the warning that shall we put this property up for auction and set a date and hold an auction and deal with the fallout as we may.
But again, I would like clarification on whether or not we should try to maximize the amount of money we take in. I want some serious clarification on that. The town paid less than $600 for that particular piece of property. And I'm having a real hard time handing over a check for $22,000 to somebody who defaulted on their taxes 18 years ago.
What I think is clear and germane, not to interrupt, but I think is clear and germane for the point of this evening, is that by virtue of the fact that there was a petition signed by 5% of the voters, the board is obliged to address this issue before the town. But it is not bound by any other terms that are in this petition, whether it be to hold it by, sell it by auction or maximize or whatever else. I think that's null and void since the sale was withdrawn, and this petition doesn't call for a town meeting.
But that still doesn't clarify exactly what I need answered for me to have an intelligent discussion at town meeting. We've been trying to explain to people the town was bound by the amount of money we could retain from this sale.
That's not negated by Richard's letter. I mean, that's still accurate.
Well, but it is to some extent because he's also turning around and telling us that we should
Right.
fair market value.
The town can only profit up to the amount of the town's expenses. Anything beyond that goes to the taxpayer. That was set by statute.
Is there any limitation on that statute of like 10 years? After 10 years, the town, that's forever.
It goes forever. So he's saying that there's apparently case law, which I have not come across, I've never read, that's saying that we have a duty to that delinquent taxpayer of 18 years ago to try to get the most money for it because the excess will go. If that is the case, then an auction is the only reasonable way to go at it because that way...
No, you can do sealed bid. I mean, there are a number of ways, but...
So there again, the exact scope of this duty is not clear. There have been some cases which have held that a town which owns property purchased at a tax sale has some fiduciary duty to the taxpayer former owner. But that duty is not clear. So I think what I need is clarification before I can take it in front of the assembly and try to explain either why we tried to take $2,500 or why we felt we could only take $2,500. I would like clarification before I stick my foot and the board's foot in my mouth.
I'd like that. I mean, I like that clarification, understanding. I'm still a little, not confused, but I just would, for the board's sake, is that I understand where Kathy's coming from, and I actually support that because we need that clarification to take to the taxpayers. We need to know where that line actually lays, and I understand law has its boundaries, rolls and moves here and there, but it would be very nice to sit there and say, this is why, and this is...
Who can do that for us?
I would assume that any other attorney, I mean, multiple attorneys handle different towns, and this is just one attorney. And needless to say, I've spoken to the VLCT attorneys who gave me, in my view, a completely different answer.
Well, the answer comes in part from the question, and attached to that, I don't know if they printed
it's
out,
not all
were
here.
my list of
Yeah.
questions, yeah.
It's here
So,
somewhere, which is hard to
Yeah,
read.
I think we do need to pursue that question.
I mean, I would like an answer before we try to.
I mean, that just created another answer. I mean,
Right.
just
That's what's original.
created another question.
So,
in my world, you just keep going down the rabbit hole, deeper and deeper and
yes,
deeper.
the rabbit hole just goes deeper and deeper.
Well, one attorney that I think does very thorough researching and worked under prior town attorney was Jody Finch. She's been on her own. Her husband, she's one possibility as an attorney.
Jody Finch.
French. One option. Trying to think who else do I know of doing town attorney stuff.
You see, part of the problem is we also don't want to get into a conflict of any kind, which is just more and more difficult in a closed area like we have.
Yeah.
I know I've got a conflict with every attorney here.
As long as we can add the expense, the attorney expense.
Oh, you can.
It may be interesting to ask, not to say it's a bad thing or a good thing, you ask the VLTC if they recommend someone out of our area that would be able to, you know, kind of give us a fair judgment on it, you know, someone out of Burlington or something.
Well, they're going to VLCT, which my husband found out earlier tonight at the BCA hearing, will look you square in the face and say attorneys disagree.
They do. They do, and it's whatever one it's going to win.
You practice till you get it right, right?
It's an art.
One
not a
more.
science.
So, I mean, this is something we can think about. We don't have to make a decision tonight, but I just wanted to bring it forward since we did receive the petition. We had 59 authentic signatures. It's going to have to go to town meeting as an article in March, and I don't feel comfortable with the information that I have gotten, the conflicting information, and trying to have an intelligent discussion about it.
At that point, but you've acknowledged receipt of the petition, and as of tonight, there's nothing that you have to do. You're not obliged to do anything
Right.
next week, next month.
Right.
So,
Can, on a related topic, at the time that we put into the warning about this Higgins Lane parcel, can we also address the 17.1 acre missing parcel? Should that be, I mean, that's a totally different situation, granted, but I'd like to see that get on the tax rolls one way or the other, and it's.
Well, see, I'm going to be completely candid here, which I probably shouldn't be, but I'm a little bit concerned about that particular 17 acres being sold and going right back into land use, which is not going to yield us anything anyway. To be honest.
But anything we get from that sale, we can in fact keep. It's not
Absolutely.
the same thing, so therefore, there's all the world benefit in the world to have an auction.
the question for the article in the warning is instruction to the select board as to how to deal with surplus property or excess property.
And it's going to be combined with, I don't have a copy of the last morning, but there is an article every year that allows the select board to convey buy and sell land. And so it needs to be pretty much combined with that article and moved up earlier in the meeting so that we can have a discussion about whichever pieces you want to discuss. Because I think once we get the clarification on the other issue, once we know for certain what has to happen with town-owned tax sale property, we'll be able to address the questions and or the concerns that the members that sign the petition do have.
Yeah, no.
Because
it's
isn't that
to acquire.
It's to acquire?
There's,
Okay.
there's no conveyance.
Was that 17.1 acquired the same way?
No.
No.
So it's actually be wiser to separate and not have one being influenced by the other.
We're not writing the warning tonight. We can,
No,
we can
no,
deal with,
but-
we'll certainly deal with both of those and anything else that we may have to.
Because I think we'll find out we're going to have basically two different types of wording anyway, I think, for both.
All right.
They're different in the detail by which we can.
Yes, exactly. Moving on, the Tiz Hall Town Hall project. Did you all get a copy? Did they all get a copy?
They came by email. I don't think yeah, maybe I did print it out for everybody. It was,
some.
yeah. There was the quick email that everybody got that I did not print out with regard to the roof work after there was a decision last week or at the last meeting to have Mike Cutts take a look at it. Tiz sent through a quick email after she saw the meeting on TV, suggesting that there might be an alternative way to do that with someone else. By then it was already a done deal. In fact, that day, Mike finished the job. She then sent through a quick email, I don't see it in front of me, it's here somewhere.
I have it.
With regard to a list of things that, projects for town hall. And a reminder that I should probably copy, it's rather lengthy, or at least give you access to, not that you don't have it, a copy of Wesner's report. Wesner was the architect who 4 or 5 years ago did a fairly thorough examination of this building unit 6 years ago, and came up with a list of long-term potential projects, recommendations.
I mean, so some of these issues have been addressed. Check a possible water leak from the roof to the floor of the upstairs porch, which I believe from the report that we don't have an issue.
It's not from
the
the
roof.
No.
Right. Resolve the heating and cooling issues for the winter heating season. Again, I think that's partially been at least begun.
Partial. Yeah.
It needs to be finished, but it's been partially begun. You know, so some of these have been addressed. The first two most major ones have been, there's been progress made on. But I think as we move into budget season, none of these items that she has listed here are in fact budgeted. We do need to consider some of the issues that they're bringing forward. What cement floor? What's going on?
Downstairs.
Pouring the cement floor?
Partial. Yeah. To make useful space under the basement.
But basically, just taking a look at this and seeing if there's anything we should build into the budget as a priority. And I think one of the priorities needs to be figuring out what's going on with that porch.
Well, it is, and it's the source of the leak, but more than the source of the leak, I think we can find the source. Whether there's any structural damage to that ceiling, floor deck, second story floor deck.
I'd like to see that get addressed in our next budget, so, you know.
Right.
Well, and that's part of the problem.
And fix the railings.
Right. What everybody's
Yeah,
after,
usual.
what everybody's after is not necessarily that everything get done in a hurry, but just that
It doesn't get lost.
government takes a look at prioritizing these things and setting the wheels in motion, even if it's part of a 5-year plan. But to look at the priorities, what needs to happen first. If the fountain's leaking, then those kinds of things need to be addressed. But to also make sure that during the fall, when the budget is put together, that some allocation be set aside to address.
Is there any hint of where the water damage is coming from on the deck?
Probably the floor up above, the second story floor. It's a tarred floor. It's flat, tarred floor, and it's all cracked.
And I've talked to several people, and they think a lot of it comes in is the rain-driven rain blowing in.
It puddles up, and then it
It
evaporates.
just doesn't have a place to run.
There's no drainage, and it's sloping the wrong way, so it sits, and it's probably seeping down through the tar. It's been doing that for a long, long time. The paint has only recently, within the last year or so, started to peel excessively underneath so that it was noticeable. But the question is whether any of those floor joists have sustained enough damage that you wouldn't want to put 10 or 15 people out there on that porch at a given point in time.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that because the railing doesn't decode, it's not high enough. That's actually an easy, very inexpensive fix. But if the floor won't hold people, then keep the door locked. I mean, is the bottom line. That needs to be assessed first. That's the big ticket item.
I do know when it was driving rain coming in this afternoon, I stuck my head out the door just to see if there was any sign of moisture coming from that area of the porch, and it doesn't appear to be an
It
active.
takes a little while.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be an active leak as the water's coming down.
Right, and it doesn't take anything to cure the leak. I mean, I can get up there with a bucket of tar on a Sunday, 5-gallon bucket, and spread it around. That's not a big deal. It's a $30 job. But you don't want to seal it in either. It needs to be opened up. Somebody needs to make an assessment.
In our current budget, is there any unallocated, unused allocations for town hall repairs?
We have our DAG funds, and there is money in the budget for
Could
town hall.
we possibly at least get an assessment done to determine the scope of what might be needed for?
We really tried to do that when we had the fire doors put in through Ingram, but they didn't get around to it. But yes, we can certainly have it looked at. The problem is that once you open it up,
Yeah, you've got to do something.
then you have to address it. And if you find rotting floor joists in there, then you really want to rip the whole thing out and replace them. You don't want to just put plywood over the top and seal it up for the winter.
So you're saying we need to allocate in our 2015 budget then enough for the worst case scenario, because there's no way of finding out in advance.
Well,
that we might have
there is. I'm just saying there's a momentum that develops when they do these things. Let's see. There's $5,000 for repair maintenance for town hall in the proposed 2015 budget, which has been passed. And for town hall renovations, there's another $5,000. There's still money in the RDAG fund as well.
I thought that was to
High
finish.
20s, maybe 30,000.
I thought that was to finish the heating system.
Well, it's money that can be spent on anything, and yeah, that's going to be inexpensive depending on where that goes.
So yes, I think we need to.
But I think there are a couple of priorities that are relatively easy to identify. In the next couple of weeks, we start getting into budget. I think we'll take a look at that and If we spend a few $100s and have somebody cut a hole in the floor up there and take a look down and use a laparoscopic something. Well, I mean, fiber optic goes along, little cameras go deep sometimes. We'll see.
I had a question now. Talking about that. Well, Mike's assessment of the roof, was it, he fixed probably about 15, 20?
About 15 tiles. There were a couple that were
15
cracked, he replaced. He said the roof was in excellent condition. He checked the flashing. He got all the way down that side, went to the peak, looked over the other side. He did some work on this side, but not very much. It wasn't necessary.
And the steeple was pretty good then.
And the steeple was fine. Yeah. He got up, checked the weather vane, the flashing around the copper up there was in good shape. No evidence of anything.
Did we get a bill from him?
We just got one today. Did not put it on a warrant. Didn't have time, but the bill is there for, well, he did several minor repairs. $1,200.
That's including our share of the rental of the
$1,191.
lift.
Says lift, labor, and materials. Several slates replaced on steeple. And below the steeple.
Well,
structure.
since everything was fine, I'm feeling guilty about urging doing it, but you know, it could have been really bad. It would have been
Yeah, but
great preventative.
Yeah, $1,100 would have, we needed to do it in 6 months, would have already been at least 24, 25. So,
Alrighty, moving on. Under old business errors and omissions, do you know that they all get copies of this?
Yes, they did
all get
copies. You got the original.
I see, because I got a blue stamp. They all have black stamps.
Yeah.
Okay, do you understand what's going on with the first one, with Michael Charles? This is the one we have tabled twice.
Did you get yours, Carol?
I don't think so.
This is the same one. I did it again. I gave him specifics.
oh, that is the same.
I was like, yeah, it didn't change a lot. I haven't memorized the other two. That's Carol.
You don't know the same thing?
Yes.
Oh, there's two there now.
Oh, I'm so tired of talking to myself. You want me to explain it to you? I hate to let them off the hook because this is actually their job, not mine, but I can actually explain what they're asking to be done. It's up to the board. Do you want to force them to come in and talk to you, or do you want to listen to my discussion?
Honestly, I hate to tell you, let's just get it over with.
Well, can you do the second one then? Are you coming back on this as a matter of course?
I was going to do the first one.
Well, I understand that, but if you can't do the second one and that's coming back in 2 weeks, then you might as well do them both.
No, that one's straight up. I think everybody understands what the second one means. Okay, so then, let's see how we want to do this. I have to explain it before we can have a motion, so I may as well explain it. I want to state for the record, I'm doing this under protest. This is not the select board's job to explain the errors and omissions that are submitted to it.
By the lister.
Huh? By the listers, yes. But what they're asking...
This was tabled for lack of information. To the board.
Yes, and I spent today for about half an hour in the office specifically telling one of the listers what I wanted on this piece of paper, so it was crystal clear for all of you what was being done. When Michael Charles bought a piece of property from his wife in the transfer, it became a contiguous parcel. And her parcel was 41,100. His was the original parcel, which is 000. So now that it's become contiguous again, it reverts back to the 50041-000, okay? That's pretty straightforward. That's the mother parcel that we need to make this correction on. They missed it. They actually didn't miss it. They put the acreage in twice. It was under the original parcel, and then it was added to the other parcel, but that's neither here nor there. That's all straightened out. So the motion should be for parcel 50041-000, and it should reflect a final value of that total amount, because once they put it together, they had to reassess the value from the two parcels, and technically that's what it is, but he should be here telling you that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Did you get
Okay,
it?
the motion is to accept.
The motion is to,
Reduce the appraisal on tax map number 05041-000 to 1,328.
right,
700. 1,328,700.
$700.
On a total of 1663.21 acres that are contiguous and therefore under one owner,
Right.
and therefore.
Is there any other
Do we know
discussion?
how much of a drop that is on tax rolls?
Pretty good chunk.
See, if they didn't enter together, or they missed it, transferring it. So they said it was 17,779.33 acres. And if they added it and combined it right, then wouldn't it be added 116 acres to it instead of subtracting it?
No, the 116 acres isn't even in here. The 116 acres was actually the parcel 100, and 100 was left on the grand list. That acreage was turned around and added to parcel 000, so it was essentially taxed twice on two different tax bills.
Okay.
Because it's a continuous parcel, it was all put together, so you had 116 acres too many in the total.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand now. Okay.
So that's the decrease.
So it makes a difference on our grand list of 36,200 that was being
Right.
appraised.
So is there any other discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the reduction of Michael Charles's property as stipulated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Timothy Bell. Is there any, does everybody understand that? Then I would entertain a motion
I so move.
that parcel number 12010-000 should have a veterans exemption that was not originally included in the grand list.
I believe that's an exemption for $40,000 off this grand list value, isn't it?
That's correct. And it's now been confirmed with the office, so that correction needs to be made. He has turned in his paperwork. So his tax bill needs to be refigured with the $40,000 exemption on his value. Okay?
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the reduction for the veterans exemption for Timothy Bell signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. All right. Sovereign Solar net metering agreement, I have got 2 copies here.
Approved and finalized?
I've been through it, Craig's been through it, have you turned it
Carol,
through it?
Carol looked at it. Peter Thorell has looked at it and has accepted it. I did not send it to her.
The changes were the dates, the size of the project, and what was the fourth?
The period of notification.
Oh, the notification, right, because it had a
Or
very short
the
window.
period for cure or something
Yeah.
like that.
So, is there any other, I'll entertain a motion first to
I make a
sign this.
motion that the agreement be signed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Dale, you had some concerns the last time about this.
Yeah, I looked at it, and only my concern was that I didn't like the idea that we were putting all our meters on there, but we had no choice really, so. The utility's exclusive.
Well, basically, the way this works is the town is going to get a straight 10%?
Yeah.
10% credit every month on the electric bills.
Yeah, but we weren't able to add any more discount credits.
that there's a cap on that
From
from
anyone.
the state.
Right.
Or through Green Mountain Utility, I can't remember whether the state that regulates the utility, you can only take a credit up to 10%. As I recollect.
Well, I just was hoping
A
it
credit
would.
as opposed to your own system, yes.
Yes.
Right. If you own the system,
Right.
then you can sell surplus or give away credit, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just a little confused under if we would be able to put in our own system sometime and offset some credits, and would that interfere with this metering agreement?
You put in another meter.
And that's the only way around it. It kind of scared me at first, that kind of sitting there putting the town that, you know, whoa, we're locking ourselves in here. I kind of understand it a little bit better. It is what it is.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the group net metering agreement with Sovereign Solar in the town of Townsend signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. So we all need to sign this. So we'll find something solid to sign on. I'm still missing something underneath there. Ah, post it now. All right, that was my copy. No, the copy that needs to go on. This stays together.
As long as it says September 2nd on the top.
All right.
Can we take 5?
Yeah, we can. It's hot.
Yeah, it is.
So we'll be back at, say, no
8 o'clock.
later than,
8.
no later than quarter of.
There you go.
5-minute stretch.
So we'll call the meeting back to order at 7:47. The Highway Department uniform contract, which is right here. You
Still
dealt
kind of
with,
in limbo. I made a few phone calls. I looked online. I got your email, Dale. Those are companies that seem to sell uniforms with shipping.
Oh, was it selling? We're sure.
Yeah, they sell them.
I weren't sure if they do, because that company that we use is the state uses.
Right, but they seem to ship them in. They put them out UPS or whatever.
No. They actually have a guy that comes in every week
Do they?
and picks up
Okay.
uniforms.
All right.
The first one,
Yep.
Amber, whatever it is.
Amarak.
Amber.
Something like that. And we also got, and this is gonna, you're probably not gonna do anything with it tonight. There's also a letter from Jim, is it Jim? Derek Stone?
Of what?
I got it here somewhere. This file back here. There's also an opportunity to get back into a 5-year contract at different pricing. It can't be looked at, and I haven't fully vetted it out yet. But it appears to be at about 1/3 of the price. And this is apparently something that was broached with David Isendorf and Kurt last year, or maybe the year before, I'm not sure, back when we originally got into this.
The sales rep gave me that the other day.
Oh,
He
okay.
wanted me to sign it. I said, no, I'm not signing.
nah.
So if we could get into a 5-year contract at 1/3 of the cost of what we're currently paying, why didn't that happen last year or 2 years ago?
Well, because I think there was an understanding that we didn't want to get into a 5-year contract. It is a long, long time. Let me just see what the date on this is. 8/29/14.
Yeah, was that offer still good or not?
Oh, this one is good. This one is dated, customer service agreement. What do you got for a date on this? This came in, that was last week.
Yeah. 8/21.
Was it 8/21?
Yep.
So this contract that you're looking for at is
So they're
for
both-
lease use rental of uniforms in, or this is purchasing of uniforms?
Okay, we actually have two contracts just to make everybody's life miserable. One that was dropped off at the town highway garage for August 21st, and the one that Craig received from the email
Yeah.
From
I'm not putting a
James-
finger on, James.
PWD.
No vowels.
On 8/21. They're the same day. They have remarkably different pricing.
Why can't you find this? It used to be right here.
Is it what Kathy's got?
Yeah, that's what Kathy's got, but I should have a copy here to help explain it.
Goodness, hugely different pricing.
Exactly.
It is hugely different pricing. It is still a 5-year contract. There doesn't seem to be any caveat in there that they can't change their prices down the road, which is what's been happening. Last year we were at 118, 119. It went to 125 and then 132, and now it's 145. But I mean, there are legitimate reasons for the costs to go up. Why is it right here?
We just looked at that.
Is it shop towels not included in one?
Shop towels are included.
Can we ask
mean,
one of
you-
their representatives to come in with their best offer of contract, and because this doesn't begin to make sense.
Well, it actually makes sense when you get down to the nitty gritty. This is the price right here. The only thing that we haven't been able to figure out, and make it bigger so everybody could see. You know, here's your full service price on the shirts, and that is the 60. That's this one.
Yeah, that's good.
And there's the pants. I'm not sure what the pants were. Pants must be this one. 24 as opposed to 250. The jackets are in here. There's the cotton shows.
No, it's current. Billing.
And
This is current.
Yeah,
This
right.
week.
Talk about confusing.
Right. I mean, this is actually.
Well, and the real question was, if this offer is legitimate and so good, why wasn't this
Offer.
basically pushed? I mean, why would you offer us something which is roughly $50 a week? And I think that's what that all adds up to
I
somehow.
think we came up to about 40 something or other.
Yeah, call it 50, as opposed to 150, when it's exactly the same thing.
Just a longer contract. This was only a 3-year, as I recall. This is a 5.
So they're giving you a break on a 5-year versus a 3-year.
Yeah, and it's a substantial break, and it's very attractive. I mean, in crunching the numbers, if I'm reading them right, it's a very attractive contract. I mean, ever since I started on this board, Universe has been an issue just because it's this ongoing expense.
It's the fine detail where they can adjust the price later that bothers me.
Well, and there's a lot of commission built into all of this, and the salespeople, in order to keep an account, are willing to basically cut a little of their profits, apparently. So I think this is fairly down and dirty, so to speak. On one hand,
Can't have your apple.
I would want to know probably whether we can lock in these prices for a term.
That's what I was just looking at. It says that on an annual basis, the prices then in effect will be increased by the greater the annual percentage increase in consumer price index, or by 5%, whichever is greater. Additional price increases may be imposed by separate written notice or by notation on customer's invoice. Customer may, however, decline such additional increases by notifying you first in writing within 10 days after receipt of such notice. I don't know what happens if we sign a contract that says we're subject to these increases and then we object to the increases.
Well, and 10 days isn't a sufficient period of time for the
Right.
board to convene and look at these
Right.
things.
Right.
This goes back to August, and we still haven't paid the August bill because of such a big jump in pricing. However, we have talked to Universe, and we're okay for the short term on that. 5% over 5 years is less than a 10% increase, and a $50 bill, you're only gonna go up to 55, 57, something like that, before they invalidate the contract and put you back in the same position again, of giving you a choice as to whether to renew under new terms or not, I would think.
If customer terminates, breaches or terminates the agreement before the expiration date for any reason, customer will pay UniFirst as liquidated damages and not as a penalty. An amount equal to 50% of the average weekly amounts invoiced in the preceding 26 months multiplied by the number of weeks remaining in the current term.
Yep.
Which is why we have kept
Why we don't want to sign this contract right now.
And has anybody asked them if we could get a 1-year contract?
They don't do 1 year contract.
Does any other supplier?
Which I think is why we're in the position we're in today. David did not want to get into a long-term contract. I think in effect this is a 1-year contract or kind of a rolling thing, but it's subject to all kinds of obvious price increases.
Well, before we even decide if we want to stay in or out of this contract, we gotta have options. We don't have any options right now. We have 2 from one contractor.
Right.
Which, to me,
And the alternative is to buy uniforms outright and pay to have them cleaned or something. Provide that in with the service. This is running right now about $7,000 a year for uniform.
What got me is I was down here when you guys were working out back, and many of you weren't in uniform at all. So Ed was specifically had absolutely nothing related to Townsend on. Wearing jeans and a t-shirt that.
Well, the pants, I mean, uniforms are jeans,
Really?
yes, yeah.
except for Boston, I think you get some gray ones, don't
I
you?
get the gray ones.
You get the gray ones. Are they more than the jeans?
Well, can't we just
Actually,
buy jeans? I mean, you can go down to Sam's and get perfectly stalwart regular jeans for about $50, and they should last a year. Get 3 or 4 pairs and just own those at least to get that off any contract. I mean, that doesn't have a logo on it anyway, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, the shirts are long sleeve shirts and it's hot, take them off. With a t-shirt.
Okay, so Ed is the only one that wears the jeans. You and Kurt have the blue pants, I take it, or the gray pants, whatever they are.
And how much do they cost us?
Which the jeans?
Jeans for?
I don't know, because it seems to come through as a fit per person. See? Because of that.
I wouldn't think there probably isn't much of a difference in the 2.
There is, and Ed is a little bit different size, so there's sometimes a little bit more for Ed, but it averages, I don't know, $22, $23 per person per week.
So, in 2 weeks' time,
You could buy 2 pair of jeans.
yeah.
Thing, I mean, the uniforms now,
But you're also
they get
getting
10
shorts and
sets
getting-
now, so you would have 10 pairs of pants. That's $500.
This 10 number keeps rolling around tonight. Amazing.
10.
It's actually 11.
Okay. That's better. That makes you feel better because we're not stuck on 10.
It's 5 sets.
I'll do that.
So this is the only company that
I
leases,
thought it was a lot.
I don't even know what you call this, that you've been able to get.
That does the uniform, sir, other than the one that Dell forwarded, and I didn't get prices from them. I'm not sure if they're in the service area. I did go online, I saw what they have available, which is pretty much, and you were talking reflective clothing, as opposed to,
It's the same thing that you guys have, it's just got reflective on it.
for the jackets anyway. And
The shirts there.
yeah.
So what's your pleasure? Would you like to explore other options and have Craig come back and give us a synopsis of what he's found? 'Cause I still don't.
I don't think entering into a long-term contract is a good idea.
Yeah. That makes me really nervous.
Because it doesn't sound like we
Can't
have a
buy-
whole lot of recourse if they up the rates,
Because
drastically.
wouldn't we be binding another board to the contract? We can't do that anyway, can we?
You can.
You can.
You can. You just signed a 30-year agreement with Sovereign Solar, but, which is binding children unborn.
It'd be nice to at least even have another competitor's pricing to
Yeah, I'd
compare.
like to, and I'd still like to look into possibility of whatever contract we go into, perhaps just buying outright the pants and not have that on that program. Because I think buying would,
Well, we'll do everything by email and we'll come to you guys in real time. So you can review it as it comes in.
I mean, the new copy that we have of the current contract was set to roll over to 3 years, is that correct?
I believe it was 3.
So you did a 3-year contract, a 5-year contract that we currently have on the table before us right now.
well, the fact that they came back with such favorable terms on the second contract that they submitted, I don't see any harm in playing hardball and saying, we might just walk elsewhere, see what they can get out that favorable price on a 1-year contract, and if they keep us happy, we'll keep them happy, and we can roll on forever. But I don't like locking into something that's clearly wildly adjustable.
So then I would suggest that we would postpone taking any type of a stance on the uniform issue until we have some additional information from some other suppliers.
We may, and see what a 2-year and a 3-year. I mean, I don't see a problem doing a 2-year. Honestly, I mean that frees 1 year of not having to go down the same
We
road.
don't
every
have,
time.
currently have a contract for 2, so.
We have not been paying the bills that they submitted, or
We're a couple behind right now.
it's 18% interest, I noticed.
Yeah, I'm not too. We've been on the phone, so I'm not too concerned about that. We won't pay the interest.
Okay, anything else? So we'll put that on the agenda next time so we have some more information to consider. Parking tickets, I understand we need to decide what one we want to order.
It isn't so much that. I'll make you a presentation with the best ones I can find. I talked to Deputy Brothers. We do want a 3-part ticket, which is a hard copy, not cardboard, but heavy cardstock ticket with all the little infractions that we can come up with within reason, but 6 or 7 or 8 of them listed on the ticket and a place for other violation as well. So parking too close to the intersection. I mean, these are some of the things that are in the ordinance, but there are also some things that parking after snow days, the ban from whatever it is, midnight to 6 a.m. kind of thing. We want that listed on the ticket. Obviously, the Townshend at the top. He will keep a copy. A copy will come to the town clerk, and obviously the hard copy, envelope copy, will get left on the windshield or in the car.
Will it say on its face where they paid the penalty?
Yes, and that will be put on there as well. I mean, we basically have to come up with the language that goes on the ticket itself.
Can we get,
The pricing is about $500 for a set of tickets, and I can't remember whether it's 1,000 tickets that you get or 500 tickets, but they're not cheap. I mean, they're like $1 a ticket, a little less than that.
have you contacted, I unfortunately am well experienced with parking tickets in Brownborough, so they have a little thing. Can you get one from them to see what information is on
Okay.
it?
Samples are online. I mean, I've talked to a few people. We did this. We've been down this road a couple of times before. But I can send you what I recommend by email. I'll send you a graphic and take a look at it with pricing. And we can get that for the next meeting as well so that we get those ordered.
Is it a carbon copy set, or is it in fact a...
It's a carbonless copy set, but yes.
Carbonless?
Carbonless, yeah. It's a 3-part. So you write it up once. It's name if you know it, but it's the make and the model and the license plate number and the time of day and all the weather information and whatever you want to put on there. But it's the location and the violation amount and where to redeem.
The question becomes then, do we actually want to decide on the format of the ticket at the next meeting? Or do we just want to give Craig the approval to go ahead and get them ordered?
I will email them to you. You'll have a color choice, whether you want them to be yellow or say hospital green or blue.
Or pink.
I don't know.
You don't want to have an out of meeting, do you?
No, I do not.
We'll make them white.
Then they will be hidden in the snow when you're trying to do it.
We'll make them black.
Well, if we're gonna do, if we're not going to wait till the next meeting to actually get the tickets, then,
We
yeah,
should have
we
a
need a
motion
motion to let Craig go ahead and order things.
I make a motion that Craig get the parking enforcement tickets ordered to the specs outlined in our parking ordinance.
Second.
Okay, any
What's
further?
I would like to see it before you actually place the order, just.
I will,
just
no, I
us.
will send it out.
So you mean if he spells Townsend T-W-O-N?
Yeah.
I've been doing that a lot recently,
Or
T-W-O-N.
S-E-N-D, I didn't even know.
I don't do that.
No.
Okay, so the motion is to have Craig go ahead and order the tickets. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the motion passes. So if you would send that around and,
I will do that.
okay. Insurance claim update?
I don't have one. I did leave a message for Jen after the email that we got from David, but I have not talked to her.
I'm sorry, what do you need from David?
That was the tree hit the car
Oh, okay.
insurance. I did call her, tried to call her once. I left a message on the machine.
And she never called back?
I never got the call. If she did, there was no message left. I have not talked to her.
Email from David, I don't believe I saw. in the email.
There was an incident right before this board took office where a car driving up.
It was on Green Up Day. It was actually, some of the board members were here, but Carol wasn't on the board at that point.
No, we weren't here.
Huh?
I wasn't here.
You weren't?
No.
Was Green Up Day before March 4th?
Green Up
Green Up Day is like April something,
Anyway, whatever it was,
23rd.
a car struck a branch that was sticking out of the right-of-way into the paved area and scratched the car. And the claimant claims that the branch had been sticking out into the roadway for a couple of days and had tried to contact or had contacted the highway garage, but it hadn't been removed, and in any event, the car hit the branch and it got scratched, and he complained to the town. So I called the insurance company, and we went up to didn't actually talk to him, went up to look at the car and look at the branch, and David talked to, I guess he talked to you, he talked to Kurt, I didn't, but it was handled with the insurance company. And they're still in the process. This is 3 months, 4 months later, they're still, these things don't happen quickly. VLCT.
Okay.
But somebody new has been assigned the case, and they're trying to close it out, and they're just trying to get some more information or get some things validated or something in order to either process it or deny it. But I guess it's still an open case.
Yes, I did talk to her. She called and asked me for information
Okay.
Because I-
The lady.
from VLCT, Jennifer.
Jen, something, yeah.
And I told her what I knew about it.
Right.
And
She sent David an email a day or so later. David forwarded it to me and to Kathy, and must have been 4 or 5 days after that, I called the LCT and left a message on her answering machine. It's probably 4 or 5 days ago. I'll follow up.
Yeah, well, basically what one thing that email did say is that I had said something. And what I had actually told the previous adjuster was the fact that when Mr. King contacted me about this issue, that he said he had multiple people who could stand witness to the fact that it was in the right of way, and they tried to contact the town. And when I spoke to the original adjuster, I relayed that information that they should speak to Mr. King about verifying that piece, those witnesses, and suddenly that's been lost. I'm not really certain what's going on there, but I figure sooner or later it will come down to us and we'll do something. So moving on, AT&T cell tower update. Craig and I met with the people from AT&T and clarified the issues that we had with the proposed tower and the fact that we do have a Dart helicopter who lands repeatedly, it seems, in this vicinity, and that we needed to make sure there was some appropriate warning for the pilots so that they didn't suddenly meet a tree in the middle of the night. They were going to take that information back and work it and it will become part of the presentation they make to the Public Service Board when it goes before the board. The timeline as it stands now is it will go to the Public Service Board probably sometime this fall. Hopefully be reviewed and approved. They would take soil samples and something else next spring. I don't remember what else they were going to do.
There was other site work they had to do, but I don't recollect.
Right, and then the proposed start date for construction of the tower is actually spring of 2016.
We're talking about the piece across the street.
The fall of 15, late fall of 15, winter,
Come
spring
on.
16, something like that.
Right.
Oh, so
The
we're
direct-
year and a half out.
Right, the direct question was if the Public Service Board approves it this month, will it be in by Thanksgiving and buy a cell phone for Christmas? And the short answer was no. They're building a lot of towers in New England, and it's a matter of budget, and you're looking at least a year out, if not
Longer.
16 months. Yeah. So, I mean, that's honest for the people that are at home viewing this. It's not going to happen this week.
Any other question? Okay. Ratify the Fairpoint work order, the pole replacement on Grafton Road. As you recall, I think Carol and Bob, you got pulled aside one day, not too long ago, to sign that was
During
election day.
elections.
Election day,
To-
just to sign that pole replacement for Green Mountain Power. That's the pole up for our solar field, so that they can actually put the, whatever they have to put on the pole. But that new one had to go in, so they were in a hurry to get that done, so we, in fact, 3 of us did sign it, one of the board signed it and sent it in, and we need to ratify that action right now. So I would entertain a motion to do so.
I make a motion that we ratify the signatures on the signing of the Fairpoint
That's a work
pole
order.
replacement Grafton Road work order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of ratifying the signatures on the work order for the pole replacement on Grafton Road signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Grafton
There's
Road,
a copy of that in the office.
it's in the, well, it soon will be in the town record book.
Okay, I just need to get a copy of it because I didn't get one.
Yeah, it's
Before
in-
you put it in an envelope and actually took it to the post office. You
Ha
you did that very quickly.
I did.
Yes, you did.
I got it
Very
recorded.
efficient.
I got it recorded. I got it in the record book, and it's on its
But the
way.
board didn't get a copy. And Peter didn't get a copy.
Why would Peter need a copy of
He
it?
doesn't, but it's just another thing. I gotta send him the net metering and it's just another for his file.
Then just ask him, it's in the to be recorded
Yeah.
pile.
Okay.
The Grafton Road tree cutting contract, it sounded like that there's been communication made at this point in time
Yeah, we may have.
with Mayotte. Do we have a date yet for when that might begin?
I believe he had told Kurt that it looked like it would be mid-October.
I know the letters went out. I was notified for several people about it.
Is it going to be later October, or are we going to try to close 35 down right in the middle of foliage?
I'm not certain of the date. That's what he was.
The
That's what
trees don't
Kurt.
have foliage.
Well, those don't, because they're dead.
People will appreciate it. Taking out the dead trees.
I know, but unfortunately, they have to fall on the road, some of them. So, let's not. That's not a good thing to do with tourists.
Leaf peepers.
Yes, we don't drop trees on their heads. So as soon as we,
So as soon as we get a date.
that would be great, so we could let people know.
You should, relay it.
Okay, street lights, efficiency and cost assessments, that's something Carol's asked to be put on the agenda.
I did.
So I will let her do her thing.
A number of years ago when I was on the board before, we looked into trying to possibly turn off some of the lights, street lights, because we were at that time running $500 a month for the street lights, which aren't even metered, which means if they burn out, we're charged for it anyway because nobody knows that it's not running. At that time, Craig and I did a whole lot of legwork of identifying every pole in town. We had a hearing, a couple of hearings, and it went nowhere. I just came across recently in my files that 2 years ago, the town of Jamaica was approached by a thing called Efficiency Vermont which will take existing street lights and switch them over to LED lights, which are a great deal more efficient than the mercury lights, which is what we mostly have around. And that at that time, Jamaica benefited from the cost of those switchovers was entirely borne by Efficiency Vermont, and they were predicting a $2,800 annual savings on electric bills in the town of Jamaica. I called Efficiency Vermont to say, do you still have a program of this ilk? They said yes, they do. I'm not sure that it's covering 100% of the costs, but we are currently running at $680 a month for streetlights. We do have, last I knew, and I haven't looked at my paperwork from all those years ago, but I think we have about 35 streetlights in town.
We have fewer than that, but it is $7,000 a year that we're paying electric bill on.
And I would like to go out and see what we have, make sure that the information I had then, as far as the wattage and what kind of lights they were, and present to you guys, again, a proposal to perhaps shut off some of the lights, and certainly any lights we're going to keep, and maybe it's all of them, get them switched over to the LED and check out with Efficiency Vermont and see if they will pick up any portion of that cost. But I need your say-so to go forward with getting the groundwork current and up to date, which I don't think will be that time consuming.
Carolyn and I will do it. It won't take them a day to get a couple of phone calls and some faxes, but it won't take that long.
Right, I mean, we still have the map that we've prepared, showing where each streetlight was and why we had our...
This is 5 or 6 years ago. I can't remember when, because it's that long, but it was 5 or 6 years ago. We had 25 poles, or 25 lights we were being billed for. We did a survey, found that there were only 23 of them out there. One of them was dead. One of them had been knocked down in a car accident a year or 2 years earlier, and they'd just never taken it off the bill.
But we're still being billed for it.
Right, and it's time to actually go out and take a look again, but we also found out which ones were sodium halide and which ones were mercury vapor, and they all have 20, 25-year life. They were at 15, 18 years back then. They're not very efficient. There's a lot of excess light going up. They aren't downward tending. They're not necessarily. And some of them were just plain unnecessary for being out there. They were put in a time when electricity was cheap, and people wanted to light up the roads. But you need to light for safety reasons, various intersections and various
I'm not
courses.
suggesting turning off all of them.
Right,
Yeah,
but I think we recommended turning off 7 or 8. 2 of them got taken out, maybe 3. But we're down to about 20 right now. Still.
I think it's a great idea to look at seeing if we can get them switched over to the LED. Really, that would save us a significant amount of money. But I still a strong believer, and there's certain areas that still need streetlights.
Completely, like I said, I'm not advocating taking them all out. I'm just, if there's reason for it, great, keep it. But if there isn't, and there are a couple that, why is it there? It doesn't even begin to make sense.
Well, if we're looking at a changeover, it forces everyone to look at the lights and make a decision about those that are questionable. So it puts the back on the agenda.
So if I get your approval to proceed and dig around without costing the town anything, I'll dig around.
Something like to propose on.
I'll propose to allow Carol and
Yes.
Craig as a committee as one to do a feasibility on the streetlights. Feasibility study. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of allowing Carol and Craig to pursue the streetlight efficiency cost assessment, signify by saying aye. Oops. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Next one on the list is the financial audit, the independent financial audit. And I think you all have been receiving emails of my fight with the state of Vermont and the closeout on the Valley Cares. She really made me mad.
Your email not being considered?
Yes. I was here. I was stuck in the town hall.
Got to jump through.
I got to jump through hoops. Anyway, so that's all taken care of, and I'll get signed up or whatever I have to do with that tomorrow.
It's not that hard. It's being taken care of. It'll take got
Good, you're
one.
gonna do it for me, you can come to my house, use my laptop and sign my name, and we'll be fine. Anyway, one of the pieces of this is we do have to have a financial, independent outside financial audit for the money that was run through the town accounts. So I would entertain a motion to, do we want to put it, we don't want to put it out as an RFP, can't we just put it out as a bid?
We put it out as a bid, and I've got 3 names, the last 3 that bid on it. We've used the same firm for the last 3 or 4 independent audits over the last 6 years. They're likely to do it again, being familiar. But we should put it up to bid, and I have the names for the last couple of years of the same companies that can put it out twice to various companies when we get bids back. We do need to do that this year. I've talked to Chris about it. November would be fine.
November.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks for these people to, and she's getting things buttoned up so that she'll be familiar and be able to walk them through whatever needs to be walked through.
And correct that this outside financial audit is paid for by Valley Garrison?
Yes, it is.
At least part of it is.
Most of it is. Most of it is, if not all.
I make a motion that we,
Explore, investigate.
solicit, solicit bids from accounting firms to get prospective prices on doing this outside financial audit for the 2014 fiscal year?
No, it'll be 13.
2013 fiscal year.
13,
13,
13, 14.
Yeah.
One ended last year,
right.
this past year, 13, 14 fiscal year.
And we all, it's gonna be compliant to what is needed for the federal.
It will be. It will be. And the federal's a part of it.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of requesting bids for an outside independent financial audit for the 2013-2014 fiscal year,
Yes.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So I'm assuming you and
We'll have
Chris.
numbers for the next meeting.
Okay. The 2015-2016 budget workshop schedule.
This calendar on the wall, we should, I mean, every year people think that they're going to get the budget done by Halloween, by Thanksgiving, something like that. It usually doesn't get done until mid-December, but by then people are in holiday moods and going away for, so, and being a relatively new board, the sooner you can begin to, we just got first quarter taxes, but the sooner you can begin to at least get an overview of what's involved in putting the budget together. I know Kathy has some obligations this fall, and the more work you can get out of her right now, the better off everybody's going to be.
So I'm open to,
It'd be
Any
nice to
suggestions?
have a sit down and go, maybe set some guide rules on whatever,
well, I have a question first. Perhaps we are going to do this a little bit differently than it's been done in the past. Rather than the select board trying to reinvent the wheel every year and come up with budgets or proposed budgets for all the different departments, are we going to actually solicit bids from the independent departments that we can consider?
The auditors put in their own, the listers put in their own, the highway department needs some walking through, but basically,
Does
you
Nita
guys
do
work
her
on
own?
your budget.
Nita do her own?
Yeah, she'll put in her own budget,
Okay.
basically. And getting people to complete that by whatever deadlines work for you is, the pressure that you put on.
Because it just absolutely makes no sense for us to keep going in circles. Every year, I mean, Bob's got a handle on what's going on with the roads, needless to say, but the rest of us don't necessarily know what's in the works, what projects are planned, etc. It would be nice to actually have a budget that would detail the type of funds that are going to be necessary in any given year for whatever work or whatever projects you guys might have in mind.
And the first workshop is going to be a walkthrough. We'll give you last year's, we'll give you this year's. You get to do some comparisons, familiarize yourself with how the numbers are going. Kim was producing the budgets for the board, and then they were tweaking it by saying, we want to do these projects, not do those. We overspent last year in this column. We need to change that and make the adjustment. Those kinds of things. I mean, a lot of it is just tweaking. A lot of it drives itself. it's really hard from this vantage, September, October of 2014, to imagine where you want to be in July of 2015, August, September, through May and June of 2016. But that's kind of what you need to be doing. It's tough.
Before we sit down with a workshop for the budget for the coming year, is there any chance we can get an actual budget, actual spent, you know, what was voted, sort of like the grand list of where we are as of July 1, 2014?
Yep.
So that we have something to compare it to of what we're being asked versus what we are looking to prepare. I feel like otherwise I'm collecting numbers out of the air. I have no clue, you know, how we relate to what we've done, and I know we can get much of that from.
It'd be nice to know that we budgeted $50,000 for the library and 20 for this one and 20 for that one, and
And then we spent 17.
not those numbers being true, but you know what I mean. And
The library.
so what we know, we got to really totally look at.
Library, cemetery, and fire department put in their own, and that's.
But again, we need to know what was previously budgeted, what was actually spent, to give an idea. I mean, because otherwise, they're just numbers out of the clock.
I do like Kathy's idea, though. Let them bring it to us somewhat.
What would be a reasonable deadline for
I
that?
know.
October 27th?
Yeah, the end of October is usually, you know, shooting it pretty good, middle of November. I mean, in a realistic, from a realistic point of view. Again, it's hard to predict. I mean, it's hard to ask the listers what they're going to want for next year, not knowing.
Well, that's another reason a financial statement would be helpful, just, you know, especially year to date.
Yeah.
We're a quarter into the current year,
Yeah.
and they know what was voted last town meeting.
Right.
How are they doing on spending? What's the, you know, are things not?
They should know what what if they're in their budget or not. Any of these departments.
Right,
should know.
and they don't have that information to give them yet, so.
Well, and that's something that can come out. There can be monthly reports given out to every department. I know, just as a matter of course, in the finance office, that occurs for every library trustees meeting. Their budget report comes out.
I would sure like one for the board of selectmen,
Okay. We'll pass the information along to the keeper.
please. Because I feel like I'm operating back, and I have no idea what we're doing. I blindly sign these orders and, I'm glad it's not my checkbook's coming out of it. God, I've lost
Well, I
track.
know. Joe's telling you $2 million in the bank. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
we did.
and 600,000 going out next week practically. No, it's just still.
Plus, it also helps too that you know, yeah, you may had, you know, well, this budget may be low now, but oh yeah, they're gonna be spending about $20,000 a year somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of.
That's why the whole year in review and this year to date would be, I think, very helpful. But what about meeting on Thursday nights? Every Thursday night until we.
There is a meeting here Thursday, September 18th. Other than that, Thursday nights are open.
I'd like to try to do every other Thursday because I'd like to try to get down. I gotta go to the firemen's meeting this next one, but I do firemen's meetings are the second Thursday, but that's also the same as the Wyndham Solid Waste meetings. So I'd like to be able to go represent, check those things out to see if there's anything I need to bring back to the board. So
What about? Well, I'm trying through my head because I don't have my calendar here, and I keep getting myself bothered with that. But I think Thursdays are usually open for me. And how would that work for anybody else to come in like at 6 and work just till 7:30 or 8 or something?
7:30. So first meeting should be pretty short.
If we started on the 18th, that's
There is
beyond
a meeting here on the 18th.
You said there was. Or on the 25th, if we started. That's the end of the month already, though. We've lost a month. All right, what about the 17th? Wednesday?
that one won't work for me either.
And there's an AA meeting on Wednesdays.
I don't know, Kathy, what's your pleasure?
Oh, good Lord,
Is there any day of the week that's better than another for you?
I just put it on the calendar. I'm not trying to force you into this. I mean,
stay away from Mondays and Tuesdays, but, you know, again, part of the problem is my business is going to start taking off. And I have other obligations to my donated time. And we start going into shows. I know that some of the Thursdays I'm going to be gone because we'll leave Thursday during the day for a Friday show. So, you know, it's pretty much you guys decide when you can get together, and I'll be here when I can.
Well, you said stay away from Mondays and Tuesdays, and then there's the
AA.
AA here on Wednesdays, so it only leaves Thursdays, and I don't know.
I'll get everybody printouts this week, within the next day or two. Everybody can have comparative budgets, and you can just email me what your calendars look like, somebody's make suggestions, and we'll come up with something.
Usually the first and third Wednesdays are kind of bad for me, and
Thursdays.
and that second Thursday is always bad.
You know, to be a royal pain, quite frankly, as much as I don't want to say this, the day that people do not schedule meetings is on Fridays.
And I wouldn't mind coming in for an hour on a Friday.
Damn good reason.
I know there is. I know there is. But if you want to avoid conflicts, Fridays are the day to avoid conflicts.
I could even come in earlier if you wanted.
Could we do it like at 2:30 in the afternoon?
No,
on
well,
Friday?
not that. But I meant early evening. Probably the earliest I could make it is 4 or 5.
And I would really like for Kyle to be able to be here. And I know he works Saturdays and Tuesdays. So those are his two 24-hour shifts.
But if you're going to shows, you'd be leaving on Friday, so that's
Well, not all that often, but there are a couple that we will be gone on Friday.
Well, I was looking at the wrong month. No, I was looking at the right month. We're in September. Well, I'm not going to be here this weekend, and I already apologized to you all for.
Let's just do the 20. I know it's. I don't think. Yeah, I know there's a lot of time in the budget, but
22nd.
I don't know what we're going to accomplish in the next 2 weeks before then.
What
What
date?
about Friday? What about getting our feet under us on the Friday the 12th, like meeting at 4:30 or something like that for an hour, just to look at the budgets that Craig's gotten together, you know, the prior reports, and so we plot out how do we tackle this, where do we go? Not trying to crunch numbers yet, not trying to put anything down, just organize our thinking processes so that we can percolate with
Maybe
that.
help divide some of it up a little bit too, and then to bring
Yeah,
that.
and 4:30 affords the opportunity of having Chris stick around for an hour. I mean, just so that she can be part of this process. She should be involved in this.
So would that work? That's Friday the 12th of September at 4:30. And I'm going to get home and I'm going to find out I'm closing in Manchester. So I hope not. I don't know.
Hey, at least it's not 9/11.
No, that's true.
Budget workshop,
At what time was that?
4:30-ish.
Oh, Rick's gonna miss another meal. Alrighty, the one thing I do want to know before we do anything else is Kurt is giving me the evaluations, and we're in kind of an interesting position here with Bob, because one of this is going to be his.
I'll avoid the meeting.
I'll
step out.
You'll avoid the meeting. I don't blame you.
I do have some comments on before. I don't care about that, but are we to that point?
Well, what I was going to say, I wasn't really certain. What I would like to do is photocopy these and get them to you all, so you can have a chance to go over them, so any questions or whatnot we might have for Kurt, we would be ready to go. And then I will invite him to the meeting to go into an executive session to discuss the evaluations themselves. So, you know, if that's okay with everybody, that's how I'd like to go about it. Now, again, because this is such an interesting situation, do you want me to send you the evaluations?
No, I don't need to see it.
You don't need to see
I've
anything.
seen mine last year. I signed mine last year.
But you don't want to see
I
it with the other employees?
No,
Okay.
no.
And when are we doing the employee evaluations of the other employees that we need to evaluate? Craig and Chris, basically,
And Kurt?
and Kurt. When do we do those?
Well, I think the first thing, before we do Kurt, we're going to have to do the employees that he evaluated because it's sequential. And then we can move into,
I've just kind of had one, even though I haven't. Chris is due at the end of September, for probation,
Yes,
3
yours.
months. I mean, just for it's So I mean, and I've already talked to her, you're gonna wanna talk to her at the end of September, just to see where she is and how she's doing. Make this a permanent whatever, but she's on probation until September, well.
I stopped in and said hi to her one day just to say hi. I didn't really talk to her.
Well, if you're gonna make copies of those, would you include a copy of this? I found this form online. It's an evaluation form. It's a pretty standard form, but I kind of like the layout. It's very similar to ones that I used to use all the time.
Okay.
And certainly we can modify it, and you can add pages for comments and,
Right.
and sections, but at least it's uniform, because the evaluations that I got last year from David and from Kurt was just, it was a written statement, just a summary.
Right.
But this would take into some other factors that is pretty standard to hourly employee evaluations. So if you wouldn't mind just distributing that too, I would appreciate it.
So I'll send you, actually, how do I want to do this? Will you all come in to get your packages?
I was gonna say, would you leave a package in there? Would you put
No, it would
packages?
be me.
It would you. Can we?
What I will do is I will photocopy, how many are there? There are 3 of them in here?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be 3 because they should be doing our own
1,
stuff.
2, 3. Those guys will put the 3 evaluations and the hourly summary appraisal, 3 copies of that into an envelope, a manila envelope for you all, and leave it in your box. If
That's
you,
what I was gonna ask.
if you would pick those up so that, and fill them out before the next meeting, and any concerns you have, could you let me know, just me, nobody else, so that I can ask Kurt if we need to have him address. In other words, I need to know whether or not to ask him.
So send you any questions.
Right, well, anything, yes, so that I know whether or not to ask Kurt to come to the meeting, is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
All right.
Okay, if there's nothing we have to address, if he's addressed everything we need to know, then we're fine, he doesn't need to take his time to come for that. So if you could let me know that, then I'll be in touch with him. So then, the other,
That is just going to be in the regular scheduled meeting on the 22nd. We're talking
if we bring Kurt in to discuss it, there will be an executive session scheduled early in the meeting to discuss the employee evaluations with Kurt.
That's the regular meeting.
Yes. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Meeting schedules of the one we scheduled tonight, which isn't on here. Next one is regular meeting September 15th. And then we have the Ancient Road site visit this week, or Saturday. Are we going to do those Ancient Roads as a group? Is that how we're going to?
I was thinking if we could actually do all the last ancient road visits and this one right here, this next visits, these groups of roads, and have it done. We could do it all in one.
It makes sense to me to do them all.
Do them all in one meeting.
Okay. So can we make sure that gets on the
On the
agenda
agenda
to
for
address?
15th.
I was gonna ask to have that posted. I didn't know if we had to wait till after we did the site visits to set the meeting. But yes, I'd like to have that set up. Will we need to basically have another public hearing if we did last one, probably? Prior.
I'll have to look at it. These are all, to the best of my knowledge, with maybe Fisher Road as an exception, they're all determined class 4 roads, depending on how far they go. So,
This was in my packet. Was this?
that's actually a new little map that you probably don't have. It's up in the area with some handwriting on it.
By new map, are you talking?
You have a copy, there's one, you probably took it home maybe? Okay. Everybody get a
It
copy?
was in the mail, and
In mailbox.
it's basically describing the up by Decker's.
The discontinued
Road.
roads on Peterson's and Charles's property.
I believe that
What's
is
the source
noted
of
on
that?
the original.
I don't know. I don't know if Michael Charles made it up or if it's, but I got it from Lawrence Peterson in an email.
Yeah, and it is, Lars probably made it up, and the thing is we actually have this information that he wrote here is actually on that original signed copy from the Ancient Roads Committee, where it says where it's been discontinued. And where it
Right,
hasn't.
it's just we're heading up into that territory, at least for the Decker Camp Road, that's,
I was approached by Ned Phoenix wanting to know at what point would his mother expect to get something saying that the formal decision was made to throw up, disavow any possession of Phoenix Way. And I said, I honestly don't know. So what is the process? Don't we have to deal?
It's in the minutes, I do believe, and
But don't we have to send something to Parks and Recreation that they sign off on it, that they don't have any interest? At which point it becomes a done thing and we...
truth of it is, it isn't a road to begin with that the board could have claimed to begin with. Which it did claim.
Weren't they claiming it as an unidentified corridor, and that's why they
That
were...
class 4 up to Ned's driveway.
Right, so they were claiming it as an unidentified corridor. We've decided that
That's
no,
part of
it's
the
not
wholesale,
that,
right.
and it's gone, but I still think it may have to go to...
Oh, all of this is going, believe me, we're
Right.
not,
And
nothing is not
So I'm
going.
assuming that when that comes back from Parks and Recreation saying that they accept all of our determinations,
Right.
that we will have, at that point...
We'd be
we'll send
sending
an
a letter
answer.
to all those ones that was discontinued, that it was discontinued.
Right.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, and then one question I do have, I'm watching Bob sit here and clip these together. Who's going to take care of notifying, who was it? Cool? Was it?
On the
On
gravel pit,
bids,
on the
yes.
stumping?
Clark,
Yeah, that one.
Clark and Gould.
No. Notify them, if you'd let me finish my sentence, notify them of the results of the bid was awarded.
I can call there tomorrow.
And you're going, how soon do we hear back from the engineer, I guess, on the culvert bids?
Well, I'll get those faxed out to him tomorrow, or scanned and emailed to Everett Hammond tomorrow. He's expecting them.
And he'll give
And I
us-
expect he'll be in consultation with Bob and with Kurt, and those will come back
and so
to
he's
the
gonna-
board as a recommendation.
so one minute.
3 would be nice, we've got 2.
But it's nice to have him review them to make sure they're both.
Apples to
Apples,
apples.
apples.
Yep.
All right, anything in addition? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move.
8:42.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.